Good morning, everybody, again. Yeah, you all look so somber and serene. This is a very happy occasion. You must smile, huh? Because we are very happy for you. This morning we have assembled quite an impressive list of guests to come and celebrate with you. And I'm going to try and include everybody that we have on stage here. We have special word of welcome to Dr. Nkosanathi Sisi. He's Director General of the Department of Higher Education and Training. He's the boss of all our bosses at the university. Welcome, Dr. Sisi. We hope it's not the last time that you're going to visit us. We have the CEO of the National Youth Development Agency, Mr. Wasim. He's sitting there on the other far side. And then we have the Chief Director of eGov, Ms. Nomsa. She complained to me she's the only woman on stage, so I said we need to correct that. But thanks for making the time. Then we have the Chief Director, let me just get his name quickly. I'll get to you again, sir. We have Professor Abajide. He's the I'll get you now. Where's Professor Abajide? He's actually a Nigerian prince. And he's a full professor in artificial intelligence. He's also a very clever guy, and he runs very, very interesting programs for our young people. You see his squadron or his army grid lab students over there, and he makes sure that they're equipped for the future. So I think you could just give a wave, the army on that side. Yeah. And there are indeed a select group of students that they just don't walk in here. He selects them very carefully. So, Professor Gidi, we're always interested in your innovation. Then we have Dr. Masutu, who is the director of the Center for Emerging Researchers that has been driving this program. Dr. Masutu, yeah. And I need to get back to the Chief Director. I just forgot your name for a minute. Organ? Rendani. Okay, Professor Rendani. And I should remember his name, but he was appointed here and then he left before he started his job. So as a little bit of schadenfreude that I forgot his name. Dr. Rendani, thanks for welcoming us with your presence. And then, of course, our professors that we have on stage and all the other distinguished guests, without trying to omit anybody, we all are very welcome. We're all very happy to have you here. And then, of course, the support behind the graduates. We often forget about them, the parents, the spouses, the sisters, the brothers, and the friends. We welcome you also here, and we thank you for joining your friend or your spouse or your family member in the graduation ceremony and share the special moment with them. And then the graduates, I cancel all other appointments to be at graduations, because this for me is the best part of being an academic, is to see people coming to this point in their journey. So special word of welcome to you. So you have come to a school, or you've selected a school that's relatively young in age. The school was started in 2018. It was the newest business school in South Africa. And it started off with a focus on SMME development. And when I joined in 2021, there are 200 MBA students in SMME and enterprise development. And recognizing that the world has changed post-COVID, especially post-COVID, with the advances in artificial intelligence and technology, and the whole shift in the world order, as we see what's happening in the world, sometimes we don't understand what's happening. You see these wars that are breaking out for reasons that you think that could have been negotiated. We realize that we have to train a different set of leaders for South Africa that understand what's happening in the world and that can understand what's happening when we talk about cybersecurity, that can understand what's happening when we talk about artificial intelligence, that can understand what that can do to the economy, and that can understand what are the new jobs that will be required for the future. And we took a deliberate stance, which was quite a bold stance in retrospect, to differentiate the school and offer our entire offering with a focus on digital transformation. And so we changed our entire curriculum for our MBA. We at the same time introduced, in that first year, introduced a PG DIP, postgraduate diploma, that leads into the MBA. So in other words, if you enroll for MBA and you're successful, then you can just continue with the MBA with getting one-third credit. And we also introduced a doctoral program in digital transformation. And at that time, a lot of the other business schools looked at us and said, you guys are taking quite a big step. But of course, it wasn't like a rash decision. It was a decision made on the basis of us consulting with other business schools and other the partners of UJ throughout the world, like Oxford and MIT. I traveled quite a bit throughout the world. And they said that's the right thing to do. But they were not sure whether Africa was ready for this big step. And of course, we didn't listen to them and we introduced it. And it was with much trepidation that we then faced the second year after we've made all these changes. Suffice it to say that 200 students grew to 650 the next year. And last year we had just under 1,000, and this year we'll probably have 1,100 students. So it shows that what we did was the right thing to do. Now, we don't believe our own dogma or our own propaganda. So what we do always is we check with our graduates. When you came in and when we spoke to you about these changes that we are making, at the end of your career or at the end of your journey, did you actually, by far, all of them say yes. They feel that they are much better equipped to deal with the outside world or the world out there. And in fact, they feel they are much better prepared than other schools, the graduates from other schools. So we're actually hitting the right buttons. To the extent now that some people want to take us to court because we don't allow them into the system because we just don't have any more places. So some very prominent people call our vice-chancellor and say that dean there, JBS, has rejected my application and I've got 3 master's degrees. And I said, but I don't choose you. You go through a selection process. And of the 300 applicants that we had for our doctoral program, we could only take 10 this year. So, but it's just something to be proud of, but it's something to say that we have positioned the school to be thinking different. Now, I'm not saying for 1 second that the other business schools are not relevant anymore, but this is a deliberate stance that we've taken. And so what I'm trying to say is that this program that you are graduating from, even if you have already a degree, a doctoral degree, or a PhD, or a master's degree, you have recognized the fact that you have to skill yourself for a world that's going to be a lot different than the one that you came from or the one that you graduated from. So even my own degree, many years ago, I got my master's degree and my doctoral degree, and I have to consciously read all the time to understand what's happening in the world out there so that I can be relevant and that I can respond in a way that is relevant. And therefore, we have to thank the forward thinking of the departments that are represented here on stage, that they are sponsoring such programs that you are graduating from, and that they are showing the necessary interest to come and share this moment with you. Because this is a journey that will ultimately determine the future where South Africa finds itself. Because if you look at what other countries are doing with this AI revolution, the advances in technology, you'll be astounded. And I often quote India because I travel to India quite often, and I'm actually a professor at one of the universities in India, at Oxford, myself and Professor Gide. I think they invited me because they invited him first. But based on the work and the thinking and the opinion pieces that we write in South Africa, they recognize that we are forward thinkers and invited to join us. And if you go to India, you will find a country of 1.3 billion people that are all biometrically identified. They all carry a single digital ID. So in other words, what it meant is that with this digital ID, they have an associated bank account. And so all their bank accounts are digitally marked through their digital ID, and they transact through that. So you buy bananas on the street with your cell phone, and you show your phone to somebody's face there, they pay you immediately. Now that is just on the economic side. On the social delivery side, you can imagine, all their funds are going to secure bank accounts, their NSFAS funds go in there, or their social funds go in there. And therefore what they've done is that with this transition, they've added 1.5% growth to their GDP. And they are becoming on their way to becoming the #1 economic powerhouse in the world. In addition to that, they have transformed their population to be democratically inclusive. Because if you have an ID, you can participate in the government. Without an ID, you cannot. That's by way of example. So we have some catching up to do, but with programs like this, there is a recognition that our young people that are walking the streets with degrees at the moment can't find jobs, that we have to reskill them and reskill them appropriately. It is absolute sin that we have 15% or 12 to 15% unemployed graduate rate in this country. And so what we did as a school, we responded in a way that last year we sponsored 60 unemployed graduates, which we pulled from the streets, and we put them through our PGTIP program. And they are graduating this year. So if there are anybody with deep pockets here, we would like to do it this year again, okay? Because it's not, 60 is a drop in the ocean, but what we are doing is we are demonstrating that business schools and universities should be looking at what is happening around them and respond appropriately to it. It is unforgivable that we have engineers that are walking the streets just because they cannot be absorbed in the new economy. So might sound like I'm bragging about the school, but I'm extremely proud of what we've done as a school. And I'm extremely proud that we are beginning to influence other schools to think similarly. I was at a Dean's conference a week ago, and I explained to them what we're doing, and they just said, wow, they have to rethink what they're doing. Now, on the other side, we're a new school. We've got lots of agility, so we can still move. Other schools don't have that agility. But as a nation, we have to get together. I'll conclude by saying that governments recognize what the school has done. And so they've chosen this school as the home for the Artificial Intelligence Institute. And on Friday, we are meeting with all the role players in South Africa to start the beginning of and formulate a national AI strategy for South Africa. So it is not... And it's not because of what the dean has done, but it's because what people like Professor Bajidi and other professors and other stakeholders like Dr. Masutu and them have done to put the school on the map by actual, real program implementations. So when we talk about the Grid Lab, we don't speculate about it. These people, these young people get skills that they otherwise would not have gotten, and from this, they walk into jobs that are high-paying. And hopefully they will give us a few cents back when they earn this big money. So with those opening remarks, this is not I'm just here to welcome you, but I always take the opportunity to also play a little bit of a marketing role. I would welcome you all to this lovely school. So when you see a crack in the floor, it's because this was a media house that we are converting to a business school, and it's starting to get the look and feel of a business school. But I can assure you that this is one of the most innovative, the most innovative school on the African continent. Not me saying that, that's my colleagues from the other business schools that are saying that. So welcome once again. Thanks a lot.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to introduce our guest speaker for today, This is a very special graduation ceremony. In the history of the JBS, we've never had two guest speakers or a guest speaker and a keynote speaker. It's for the first time we're having that, so this shows that this is indeed a very, very special occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, esteemed faculties, proud parents, family members, and partners, and of course our distinguished graduates, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce to you our esteemed guest speaker, Dr. Mukobe Masuta. Dr. Masuta embodies the spirit of academic excellence and impactful leadership with a career trajectory that has left an indelible mark both nationally and internationally. Beginning his journey as a policy and strategy analyst at the City of Tshwane's Division of Economic Intelligence, Dr. Masuta quickly rose to prominence in national government cycles. His keen insight and dedication to youth empowerment led him to serve as a special advisor to the ministry in the presidency. In the realm of academia, Dr. Masuta's achievements are equally impressive, armed with qualifications ranging from BA in Economic Geography and Urban Studies to a PhD in Higher Education Policy and Management from the University of Bath in the United Kingdom. His commitment to advancing knowledge knows no bounds. Yet, Dr. Masuta's impact extends far beyond the confines of his academic pursuits. As a member of numerous local and international advisory boards, he has played a pivotal role in shaping policies and strategies on issues ranging from education to climate change. His contribution spans continents, from advising the Chilean government on higher education funding to collaborating with organizations like the Climate Action Network for International Educators. In his role as a co-founder and head of research, strategy, and advisory services at the Center for Emerging Researchers, Dr. Masuta continues to pave the way for future generations of scholars and leaders. Today, as we stand on this precipice of a new chapter in our graduates' lives, Dr. Masuta's insights and experience are sure to inspire and guide them as they embarked on their own journey of discovery and impact. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a warm welcome to Dr. Mukobe Masuta.
Thank you very much, Program Director. I almost took my hat off to speak, and forgetting that this one has to stay on. But Director General of the Department of Higher Education and Training, Dr. Nkosinathi Sishi, our Dean of the Johannesburg Business School, Professor Randall Carlson. Can we please give the Dean a proper round of applause, please? The one that you gave earlier was not representative of a graduation ceremony. My own boss, Executive Director of the CER, Mr. Muimeli Mutangwa, and the leader of this program from a pedagogic point of view, Professor Abejide Ibiola, Professor of Artificial Intelligence and Applications here at the JBS, the CEO of the Matthew Goniwe School of Leadership and Governance, Mr. Sibusiso Matlangu, who is also accompanied by their head of ICT programs, Mr. Henson Mlochwa, the person who is going to fund your small enterprises when you live here, the CEO of the NYDA, Mr. Wasim Karim. I'll be committing you today, one by one. In fact, I'm not sure if she has arrived, but we're also expecting Ms. Kita Galima Busela, who is the General Manager for Grocery and Retail at Uber Eats. Mr. Risuna Maluleke, who is the Executive Director of the Young African Entrepreneurship Institute based at Wits University. So if you listen to that line up, you get a sense of what we're cooking. Now, my name is Mukobe Masuta, which is short for Mikobe Achilizia Pamban. But we gave Home Affairs a break and just gave them Mukobe for short. I will not speak much because I want to leave the rest of this podium and the time we have today with our keynote speaker, the Principal General of all Vice Principals across the country, under whose leadership are nearly 2 million souls that he has to look after on a daily basis to ensure that the PSET sector remains stable, forward-looking, and pushes this country closer and closer to the NDP targets. But as a way of background, we are 12 years shy of a century since the Second World War, whose aftermath has in many ways shaped the world as we know it today. We are also 3 years shy of 7 decades since Ghana attained its independence, paving the way for the African independence explosion. Here at home, we are also 7 years away from the year 2030, the year to which the Global Development Agenda under the SDGs as well as our NDP has placed targets that must be met if we are to experience a more humane and just society that the Dean spoke to. Now, we are also 30 years since the legal demise of apartheid, and South Africa's journey has been characterized mainly by a mixed picture of remarkable progress, major setbacks, and in some areas stagnation that we need to respond to. The picture is increasingly clear, as the UNDP recently acknowledged. Regardless of our dreams, the world is already transforming at neck-breaking speed. The great disruptive forces of the 21st century, such as technological innovation, the rapid rural to urban migration, are creating radically new future realities that all young people of this country and this continent have to stand ready to confront in order to make our continent great as it has always been prior to all centuries of colonialism that we've endured. The world in the 21st century that we are both making, shaping, and learning from points us to a particular trajectory. The digital revolution, fueled by the rise of AI and other innovations, presents both profound opportunities as well as complex challenges. While technology empowers human progress, it can also exacerbate existing disparities across class, race, gender, as well as nationalities. Thus, this digital innovation hub that we've partnered with at the JBS presents an opportune moment for us to nurture young people who will future-proof South Africa and future-proof the continent. Notably, the digital revolution is reconfiguring the world of work in both challenging and promising ways. On the one hand, the digital divide is exacerbating who gets to access what at what point. Those without access to technology, digital skills, or even reliable internet connections are increasingly left behind. In short, access to digital technologies is increasingly becoming not distinguishable from other basic human rights. However, this digital revolution also presents significant opportunities for transforming the workplace. Automation, for example, is changing the manner in which many jobs are carried out, necessitating the upskilling that the Dean spoke about, and a shift toward higher order tasks that require creativity, problem solving, and adaptability. Now, just to pause here, creativity, problem solving, and adaptability was a thread that ran across the programming that Professor Jide and ourselves put together to ensure that we're not just excited about technology and what it offers, but that we're able to actually apply it to our immediate realities. That is why Professor Jide and his team were able to equip young people from across manner of sectors, from chemicals to cleaning services to IT, all of whom had to apply the tools that the team had put together to their respective sectors. When we recruited for this program, alongside the NYDA, Mr. Karim, the response in 48 hours was 600 young people for which we had not budgeted for. So we decided to break apart the groups and organize them into cohorts so that we could start with the first cohort, have a proof of concept, and then be able to present it to higher or to other stakeholders such as the Department of Higher Education and Training to say we have now demonstrated a future-proofed, adaptable, and clearly impactful program. Let's see how we take it to the rest of the country and the continent. Lastly, there is growing acknowledgement that education systems around the world need to evolve to better equip both teachers and learners with the competencies for a fast-changing world that should enable them to fix both uncertain and complex futures. Globally, the introduction of digital technologies, coding, and robotics in schooling has emerged as a crucial pathway to the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals. The presidential report on the Fourth Industrial Revolution, which was co-authored with our former Vice Chancellor here, says the same thing. The Agenda 2063 program of action of the African Union says the same thing. The DBE, or Department of Basic Education here at home, also says the same thing. Kenya, Rwanda, Nigeria, Ghana, and other sister African countries are already pointing the way that today, a goat that is ordered on an e-commerce platform in KwaZulu-Natal should be able to reach Mpumalanga the following day. And that small-scale farmers should not have to beg a bunch of intermediaries in between, lowering their profit margins just in order to get their product to the shelf. All of you were innovating around real-life problems, not merely theoretical interventions. And that is why the team is led by a professor of artificial intelligence and applications. I often gossip that Professor Jide, after Chinua Achebe, Nigeria gave us yourself. And we are hoping then that your contribution to African children across this country and across this region will not go unnoticed as we try and expand beyond the doors of higher learning institutions. What we have been able to test here is a blind recruitment drive, Mr. Wasim, that did not have to pinpoint who gets to come in and who can't. For as long as you had a metric, you could come. And Professor Jide, like an airport ATM, was able to recognize whether you have a card from Itala or Barclays in the UK, he was able to recognize the capital embedded in your capabilities and translate that into implementable programs. And I think we must give him a round of applause for that. So increasingly, we can no longer have, and this is why the JBS is so disruptive in a very constructive way. Disruption is not always negative. Converting a business school into a people's university is not a statement commonly made. There are individuals who in their wildest dream never dreamt of setting foot at the Johannesburg Business School. And yet you opened your facilities, provided your academic staff, the intellect, the research output, the creativity and the application that is found in here to make sure that whether you are from Winterfeld, Alex, Soweto, or Orange Farm, you too could become proficient in artificial intelligence and applications for small businesses. Now, we have an unwritten expectation that should you break and make it big, as some of the entrepreneurs coming out of here, we want 10% from future profits. We are hoping that we won't have to chase you down. Unless if we bring the next cohort to develop an application to trace those profits down. But in a nutshell, on behalf of the Center for Emerging Researchers, all the instructors, Professor Jide's laboratory, the JBS as a community, and University of Johannesburg as a university, we couldn't be prouder of everyone who is here. To your left, DG, we also assembled an earlier cohort that will also, as you leave, exhibit some of the innovations that came out from an earlier cohort. Just to show that this application the Dean is talking about in real life. A number of innovations came out of, in the past, people in humanities wouldn't dare go to the computer lab because they didn't want us to see them typing like this. But what this business school is doing now is assembling blindly faculty of science, humanities, etc., including ourselves from the humanities, to apply our real life experiences. And they are using technology to accelerate solution to some of those realities. And I think it's an incredible development. So this country is ours as it reaches 30 years since the democratic dispensation, which did not come quick. The role of technology in your hands should be to add value to the critical elements that constitute a state: our territory, its population, the sustainability of its government institutions, and the unique competitive advantage of our country. If you are not adding value in each of those four, you are falling short. The country transcends me, you, politics, the economy. The country is our territory and everything that is in it, including our plants, our animals, the people, the ability to feed ourselves, and the ability to determine our next course of action free of disruption, interference, or subversion. So your ability to do that with technology. We don't want you to use technology for destructive purposes, because technology is not neutral. There are dual-use technologies which do great good but can also cause great harm. Let this be technology that is not used to divide our people, but rather unify them. Let this be the kind of technology that is not used for pessimism, but to walk alongside your government as it traverses centuries of distractions that we still and are yet to fix as a country. On those bases, let me thank you and express my great appreciation to every parent, relative, and friend who has accompanied our graduates. And this is not the end. After this is the aftercare intervention of the incubation program. And we're glad that Wasim is here. Thank you very much.
Thank you for those wonderful words, Doc. Without wasting time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to invite our keynote speaker for the day. It is with great honor and privilege that I introduce to you our esteemed keynote speaker for today's graduation ceremony, Dr. Nkosinathi Sishi. Dr. Sishi is a true luminary in the field of education and public service, with a career spanning more than 3 decades of dedicated service to the betterment of our nation's higher education landscape. Dr. Nkosinathi Sishi currently serves as the Director General of the Department of Higher Education and Training, where he brings his wealth of experience and expertise to bear on shaping the future of education in our country. Throughout his illustrious career, he has held numerous key positions in various domains, such as human capital development, institutional leadership, corporate governance, skills development, and administration, amongst others. His contributions to education extend far and wide, from serving as the head of metric examinations to being the Deputy Director General for Planning, Policy, and Strategy in Higher Education and Training. Dr. Sishi's expertise in curriculum development, assessment, and systematic evaluation has been instrumental in shaping educational policies and practices nationwide. Not content with merely excelling with the confines of our national borders, he has also made significant strides on the international stage, leading in initiatives in international cooperation and intergovernmental relations. His leadership roles in various esteemed organizations such as Umalusi Council and the National Examinations Integrity Committee underscore his commitment to upholding the highest standards of educational integrity and excellence. In addition to his sterling contribution to education, Dr. Nkosinathi Sishi has also demonstrated exemplary leadership in corporate governance serving on the boards of several prominent institutions, including PRASA, Autoprex, and Intersight. As the Executive Director of PRASA Board of Control and a Group Chief Executive Officer of PRASA, Dr. Sisha continues to steer these organizations towards greater heights of success and accountability. Dr. Sisha's remarkable journey from educator to Director General is a testament to his unwavering dedication, exemplary leadership, and unrelenting pursuit of excellence in the field of education and also public service. His insights, wisdom, and vision will undoubtedly inspire our graduates as they embark on their own journey of lifelong learning and service to our society. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a warm welcome to Dr. Nkosinathi Sishi as he shares his valuable insight and words of wisdom with us today. Dr. Sishi.
That was very kind, Program Director. Thank you very much. Program Director, besides your very kind words of welcome, you've also given us insight into the importance of this occasion. When I see the graduates and I see the parents, I understand how important it is that we are here today. And may I declare that I'm truly humbled to be part of such an important program. Professor Randall Carlson, the Dean of the Johannesburg Business School, thank you for your leadership, and thank you also for your opening remarks that have directed and indicated to us what the future holds for the school. Mr. Castro Mosina, the HOD of Gauteng Department of E-Government, Mr. Mutangwa, the Executive Director of the Center for Emerging Researchers, Dr. Masuta, the Head of Research, Strategy and Advisory Services, and may I also take this opportunity to thank you for your, important speech that you've presented that has given us an insight into a lot of work and future plans for the school. Professor Abedijije Ibiola, the JBS Professor of AI and Applications, it's good to meet you in person today. We've heard a lot about you, and I thought I was going to meet an older man. It's truly good to see African scholars and opinion makers, providing leadership in our systems and doing sterling work that you are doing. Ms. Mashaka Musehana, the head of UJ Center for Entrepreneurship, Mr. Sibusiso Mahlangu, the CEO of Methekoniwe School for Leadership and Governance, Mr. Wasim Karim, the CEO of NYDA, present here with us. He's doing an amazing job at NYDA, and I think that he's inspired a lot of confidence amongst many young people who continue to be an important part of nation building. Ms. Aliyah Lindiwe Tukwane, the class representative, and esteemed guests, particularly parents who are here with us today, our esteemed guests and graduates. It's an honor for us to be here in the Department of Higher Education. It's our greatest pleasure that as a Department of Education and Training, we are joining you on this momentous occasion as we celebrate the remarkable journey of many young men and women who are today graduating from the Digital Innovation and Artificial Intelligence for SMMEs. I think it's important for me in advance to recognize the leadership and the good work of Professor Randall Carlson, the Dean of the school. I've recognized Professor Biola and also Dr. Masuta, the Head of Research and Strategy. To us in the department, this work that you are doing is a groundbreaking initiative that seeks to empower SMMEs across not only the province, but across the continent, and particularly with digital skills and tools that are necessary to take us forward. What makes the day the most memorable is that it captures the presidential injunction, to the Presidential Commission on the Fourth Industrial Revolution that was established and chaired by the President of South Africa himself. And I think it's important that I say this. And this presidential commission was tasked to make proposals for the country's overarching strategy and also to recommend institutional frameworks and roles and responsibilities of other players in society within the broader plan. It is in this regard that we recognize the good work that this school is doing, because it is an appropriate response to the presidential injunction that led to the establishment of the commission that has led South Africa to groundbreaking reports that have informed policy and practice in many areas involving digital transformation. The commission, that the president set up made several resolutions that are important, and this is the essence of what message I would like to share with you today. And as I share this with you, you will take note of the fact that the work that the school continues to do is not only aligned to the work and the injunctions that the president has set up, but it actually set high standards on the basis of which many other stakeholders or will be inspired to follow. The president or the resolution of this commission included, amongst other important resolutions, that we need to invest in human capacity related to the Fourth Industrial Revolution. This school have taken this initiative and this resolution to a different level. May I indicate up front that I'm not suggesting by any measure of imagination that scholars and academics must then follow government policies in how they do research. But I think it's important to us when goals that are important in nation building are achieved through the initiatives of our scholars, and in particular this school. It is important that I make this point. The Presidential Commission of the Fourth Industrial Revolution drives the point closer to home when it calls for us to incentivize future industries and applications of these technologies. The DTIC acknowledged the country's position as a laggard in digital or smart industries that will require support to develop SMEs into globally competitive industrial players. As I continue sharing these views with you this morning, you will take note of the fact that an example of this work is already demonstrated in the achievement of JBS. The state, as the largest and the most powerful purchaser in the country, has a significant role to play in the application of fourth industrial revolution technology across all the priority areas that I have suggested. As the post-school education and training system, we envision, among others, a system that will provide a strong core education and training programs that align with the changing needs of both the South African society and the world of work within the context of digital transformation. Access to high-quality educational opportunities which meet the demands for digital skills in the labor market created by the fourth industrial revolution and the parallel need for a new wave of South African innovators and entrepreneurs who will help to drive and shape this process has been also identified as one of our priorities in the post-school education and training system. And it is good to be here at the graduation ceremony celebrating the good work of young men and women who have exercised discipline and ensured that they acquire the necessary knowledge that we need in society to shape our country, to build our nation, and to ensure that we set high standards for others to follow. What is clear to me today with this initiative that you have undertaken is not just a technological revolution, but it is a societal and economic transformative imperative that you have embarked upon. Higher education is at the heart of preparing individuals and society for challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. The bridge, or to bridge the gap between academia and industry in this age of innovation, higher education must adapt and evolve. Our higher education institution must rise to the occasion. As we do with the UJ initiative, we want to see active collaboration with other post-school entities and institutions such as our sector education and training authorities, such as our technical and vocational education and training institutions, and most importantly, our community education and training colleges, so that we massify these initiatives and similar other initiatives of this nature. Our institutions must be proactive in shaping the workforce of the future. It must equip individuals with the skills and knowledge that is needed to thrive in the processes for digital transformation. Together, academia, industry, and government can bridge the gap and build a future that is not just technologically advanced, but also that is inclusive, also that is ethical and innovative. I think it is very important. In the past, we have seen tensions between all the players that I've mentioned, but it assists nobody to continue to operate in that trajectory. It is important for us to work together to make sure that we minimize the challenges that our society is confronted with. It's important for me that I speak like this at a time that our National Treasury has introduced austerity measures that seek to guide this country at a very difficult time in the economy of our country. Yesterday, I spent time with one of the universities discussing issues of around budget cuts in higher education. And as we were discussing these matters, I recognize that there's actually a lot that we can achieve if we eliminate duplications that exist across all systems and subsystems in the post-school education and training system to ensure that each and every cent that we have at our disposal works towards ensuring that we open the doors of learning and culture for all of our young people. And today we see an example made by these universities. And our institutions in this regard must be proactive in shaping the workforce of the future and equipping individuals with the skills and knowledge that is needed to thrive in this era. Together, we need to work together, taking this into account. The fourth industrial revolution is an important subject to all of us, especially in our SMME sector, as it characterizes or is characterized by breakthroughs in the field, such as artificial intelligence, robotics, the Internet of Things, biotechnology, and nanotechnology. These innovations are radically altering the way we work, the way we communicate, the way we live in all facets of our society. The demands that are made on us are more than just academic initiatives that are expected of us. They call for a mindset shift towards innovation and entrepreneurship. Higher education institutions need to also encourage the students to think creatively, solve problems, and take risks. I think as a department, we will table very soon an initiative to fund research in a variety of key areas, such as the 1 billion rand that we have made available for the presidential program to increase the number of PhDs in specific areas. Despite this, it's important for me to also say, as we try to improve access to education, we also take time to look at what NSFAS has done in the last number of years. In the last 4 years, 122 billion rands have been made available to more than 3 million students. Just this year alone, we are talking about 1.1 million students that have been funded through NSFAS. It is therefore important for us as we collaborate to work together. We work together to fix this institution, to make sure that it is run with the principles of good governance and that it improves its outcomes because it is a national asset. The fourth industrial revolution demands on us to do all of this work. The mindset shift towards innovation that I'm calling for requires that higher education institutions that will include our TVET colleges, our community education and training institutions, work together with our universities to ensure that we solve problems of society. They should offer programs and resources to support startups and entrepreneurial initiatives. By nurturing an entrepreneurial spirit, universities must empower students to become job creators rather than job seekers. And as a department, we are not just calling for institutions to do so. We are putting money aside through the National Skills Fund to making sure that we fund programs that inform or are informed by the need in society for supporting entrepreneurs. Recently, we've funded the Department of Small Business in ensuring that at least those who graduate are able to start jobs almost immediately. I am happy today that the School of E-Government in Gauteng is here today and recognize the initiative called Nasi Ispan in Gauteng that have seen government utilizing scarce resources available to ensure that we work together to create jobs in partnerships across all government departments, but also inclusive of the private sector. The post-school education and training white paper have 6 important goals that I wish to make reference to today to drive our point home. Firstly, we need to ensure that we establish an integrated and a coordinated system that is highly articulated, so that there is articulation between your community education and training systems, your TVET colleges, and our universities. This articulation will make the dreams of the National Qualifications Framework to be realized. When we established the National Qualifications Framework, we said it must look like a ladder. On one hand, it must be training. On the other hand, it must be education. And in between, we need to put panels that allow people to move from one hand to the other, from training to education, and vice versa, as they involve themselves in skills development. And this cannot be achieved if our system is poorly articulated. And this is the work that I call upon the University of Johannesburg to work with our department to achieve. The expanded access to post-school education opportunities is important. At this point in time, we've got 1.1 million young people that are in our universities. But if you look at TVET colleges, we only are talking about 500,000 students, and even lower at community education and training at around 120,000. If you look comparatively to in other countries, most of the students will be in the college system and lesser numbers in the university system. But in our